Warning, this podcast contains not my vixen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the ASOTV podcast for Legends of Tomorrow, Season 2, Episode 2, The Justice Society of America. I am your host, Clio, and with me I have Dom and Nikki.
How's it going?
Good. Yeah, I was so excited for the JSA. They did not disappoint. They were awesome.
I loved when the Legends got their ass handed to them.
Oh, yeah. So
I was just,
The only thing I was actually disappointed with in terms of the JSA was not diving into Our Man's powers at all.
Yeah.
That's really the only gripe I have.
Yeah, Our Man didn't... Not that he didn't do much, but he was, like, the leader. He was like, go do, here's my plan.
Yep.
Go do.
I mean, Ray did say that, you know, how much Our Man was amazing, and, like, I think somebody joked that they should, like, get a room or something. Or had a crush.
Well, I think Ray said that about a bunch of them, and they were making fun of Jax because he was actually hitting on Stargirl.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can't remember what Ray said.
Yeah, I think Ray said something about Our Man, and then Sarah's like, oh, it sounds like somebody's got a crush or something like that. Maybe it wasn't Sarah, maybe it was Mick.
But that sounds
they
like
were
something Mick would say.
They were on the Wave Rider, all I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, of course, I was the most impressed with the two characters we got the least from, which was Obsidian and Dr. Midnight.
Oh, yeah. Oh, just that opening scene with them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually paused it so I could catch my breath because I stopped breathing. It was so good.
Yeah, and I'm going to get all D&D on this, but Obsidian and Dr. Midnight's powers complement each other really well, and it reminds me of me and John were having conversations about the witches and the mesmerists in Pathfinder, and how if they're on a team together, like the mesmerist can stun an opponent, and then the witch can just, you know, use terrible curses on them, and like just it works perfectly together. I'm like, that is exactly what Obsidian and Dr. Midnight are. They work so perfectly together.
Mm-hmm.
Obsidian makes it dark, and Dr. Midnight's like, what up? I have night vision.
Absolutely fantastic. Except it didn't really work for Firestorm, right? That didn't really stop him. He just lit up everything he needed to see.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, he is fire. So
Yeah.
I was wrong last week. This is a different Vixen, and it is a different actress.
Yeah.
And not my Vixen. I loved her though. She's great.
Yeah, she was fantastic. The
But
one line that bothered me with her, but it did come back and it made itself okay, was when she goes to Ray. Oh, so you're just a guy in a suit? And I was like, and you're just a bitch with a necklace? Like, that's literally like what I yelled at my TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, you know, it came back when she's like, yeah, but I'm this, and that. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm a black belt. I have
Yeah.
all this training. It's
okay,
like, oh,
you got me. You
perfect.
got me. You know? So they course corrected, you know, on that. And I was okay.
Yeah. But I found myself, and I still have the two IMDb pages open, where they look so similar.
Now, keep in mind, I haven't started it yet, and I don't believe you have either, Cleo, but Season 2 of Vixen has started on the CW.
Yes.
I did see the trailer for it, and one of the first lines, the villain, I forget his name from last season, goes, "You're the spitting image of your mother."
Oh.
But this isn't her mother, unless we're dealing with time travel. Because this would have to be her grandmother.
Okay.
For the ages to make sense.
Okay.
So this would have to be her grandmother. But yes, they look extremely similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I've just been like flipping back and forth between their two photos, and I'm just like, I can't believe how similar they look. It's the eyes.
Yeah.
The eyes. Anyway.
I mean, once she was in the role and you heard her talking and everything, then I was like, oh yeah, that's clearly a different actress. And I was like, didn't we have that discussion? I think we were on the fence about it, but
Yeah, and I think it was Brian Gabriel in chat who was like, that's definitely a different Vixen. And I was like, no, it's not. It's the same lady. And then I was like, oh, nope, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Brian's right. But I loved seeing her in action, obviously, again. Not again. This is a new Vixen. But seeing the Vixen powers coming from the amulet.
Yeah.
The necklace. Still looks the same. You know, in the past, in the present. Looks the same.
Yep.
When it's used. Does the same stuff.
The power of the pair.
I think she did a gorilla, too.
Yep.
The first scene. That was a gorilla.
Yeah.
I loved in the bar. She's just like the cheetah, like Rawr!
Yeah, that
Tackles
was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think the weakest of the bunch, and I hate to say it because I know you were really excited for her, Clio, I think was Stargirl. In terms of raw showing off powers and stuff like that, you know.
I mean,
I'm not saying she's the weakest of the bunch. I'm just saying in terms of this episode.
Yeah, they didn't really show much of her
Not
other than
that
her
she's
swinging her.
Not weak as in physically or anything like that.
No.
I just meant character-wise.
yeah.
I mean, she was holding a staff. We didn't hear anything about the staff. She was twirling the thing around and shooting some blasts out of it. That's all we know out of her. You know, I mean, we could say the same thing about Midnight, or what was his name?
Obsidian.
But his power was just way cooler, so it just, dare I say, overshadowed her?
Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
didn't really see Hourman at all.
That's why I said he was the most disappointing for me. But yeah, so I guess Hourman was the weakest of the bunch in terms of that. But he was the leader, so like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Speaking of leaders, Rex assumes that Stein is the leader.
Because he's an old gray man.
Because he's an old white man.
Oh, I mean, yeah, with gray hair. Sorry.
Yes.
That's what I meant.
And I mean, some of when they're back on the Wave Rider, some of them agree. You know, like Sarah's like, yeah, you know what? Go. We need a leader. Lead.
Mm-hmm.
If you're willing to do it. And he lets it go to his head. And we've seen this before. We've seen him get full of himself like this before.
See, but I really love the whole dynamic that played out here. Like, I absolutely love this because we're sitting here going, oh no, get Rip out of the show. Like, he's terrible, da-da-da-da-da. But when we had Rip, it was like, decisions were made. Some of them were not the best of decisions, but they were still decisions, right? Mm-hmm. And they were made and they were followed through without much resistance and much question. They were still done, and they acted as a team. And now we're getting the complete opposite of that. And it's like, yeah, we're indecisive. We don't know what we should be doing. We're fighting over whether or not we should be doing it. And it's almost like they're trying to put in our head, do we miss Rip? Like that's kind of like what I feel like the show is trying to imply to us. My answer is no. No, I don't. But
no.
Well,
I see where the lack of Rip is coming into play here, and I think that's fantastic.
Yeah. And I don't necessarily think it's the show going, oh, you miss Rip now. I think it's more like, you need someone who can take charge. Who can do that? Sarah can do that.
So
and we've known that.
I was way off with who I thought it was going to be.
Who did you think it was going to be?
The historian?
The historian, oh yeah.
We found out some interesting tidbits about him in this episode.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's the grandson of Commander Steele.
Mm-hmm.
I keep wanting to call him Captain Steele, but that's not right.
Nope.
Commander Steele. And he's just like, I know this stuff about you. Nobody else does. I have your dog tags. I'm your grandson. And then, like, Commander Steele's just like, And it's like all his responses to him after that, to Nate after that, were kind of like very guarded, and he got very defensive. He's like, "Oh, a lot of people have me as a hero, blah blah blah." And
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, Nate, you came on too strong. You scared him."
Pretty much, but at the same time, it's the only way they would have gotten out of JSA prison.
That's true.
So
That's true. Because they would have just sat there arguing forever. That's what they do. Yeah, and there's something like multiple members of the JSA kept saying like, "You guys aren't heroes." I mean, it didn't help that Mick is just like, "Yeah, what up? I'm a criminal. I steal shit. She's an assassin." It's like, come on, Rory, what the hell?
Who was it? Was it Stargirl? She's like, "You guys aren't heroes." Like, yeah, I know, I'm a criminal. So like, he's like, "I know it. I don't care."
how many other felons do you have among you? Well,
she's
technically her. She's just never been caught. It's just like,
Mick, you're not helping. Not helping.
I would love to see Mick lead the team.
Oh, that'd be great.
But Mick's been actually really good recently. Like, because when they were in that fight, he was not using his gun until he was told.
Yeah, he's like one of the Einsteins.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, wait, what are you? It's like you're referencing the other episode, and yes, you are.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for that line to be used in the universe somewhere.
Me too. Well, I mean, we haven't really. It would have to be in one of the other shows in like present day or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be really funny. Oh, speaking of maybe Mick leading the team, we have Sarah. Sarah did the voiceover for the intro this week, and at the beginning, I was like, "Oh, they must be altering. Every week there's gonna be another one of them doing the voice." But now Sarah's the leader. Do you think it's gonna be Sarah for the rest of the season?
I think they're still going to alternate. It makes it a little bit more interesting, even if it's just like the beginning sequence of the show. There's plenty of other shows that have been doing that too.
Well, so far the DC shows, they pretty much stick with the lead character. Like, I can't recall Arrow right now, but I know Barry. Like, Barry's always the narrator of his show. I'm the fastest man alive. Da-da-da-da. This, that, and this. And then just recently now in Supergirl for this season, she goes into like a very similar spiel going into it. But this is more of an ensemble show. So
there's no main character.
There is no main character. And I feel the best way to do that is maybe kind of who the story mainly revolves around that episode. Because we saw Mick be the first one, awake, and he was kind of the one driving the story of episode 1, right? And Mick was the narrator in episode 1.
No, Stein was the narrator.
No, Stein.
Was it Stein? I could have sworn
it was Stein.
No. It was Stein.
Oh, okay. My theory goes out the window then. I could have sworn it was Mick. So.
Pretty sure it was Stein.
It was Stein.
Yeah, maybe they will just random it up for no reason at all. And if that's the case, let's take predictions now. Who's the voiceover of the next episode?
I hope it's Mick.
Wait, I was gonna cheat and look at next week the synopsis.
Cheater.
That's not gonna. It's not
Ray.
gonna tell you.
I think it's Ray.
You think it's Ray?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Jax.
No. I hope it's always Mick.
Yes.
I would have went with Mick, but you stole it, so Jax.
Fine.
Yeah, and I mean last season, yes, we had a captain like that. It was Rip's ship. He put this all into motion, and he did the voiceover every week. So I think that'll be interesting. Different dynamic, obviously, this season. So change it up.
And I'm wondering, do you think Sarah's going to stay in charge?
I would like to see them shuffle around.
Depending on situations.
Yeah. Because they put her in charge, but they didn't call her captain like they called Stein captain,
The way I hope it ends up being is, if it's clearly a mission that involves a lot of sciencey stuff, have Stein be, call the shots on it. If it's something, an assassination job, Sarah would be the perfect person. If it's something that involves stealing something, put Mick in charge. Like put these people in charge based on the role, that it is, and because
we
they're
have to
gonna
steal
know
the Declaration of Independence.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Yes.
Let's not do that.
Yeah, let's do it. I would love, and then they bump into Nicolas Cage, and they do a look like, what are you doing here? Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
I would not watch this show anymore.
Come on, I love National Treasure.
That's like his only good movie, in my opinion.
It's his best, I think. Anyway. So, and we find out this is not the Hour Man that comes and tells them not to go to 1942, because they come in and he's like, I've never met you before, I don't know who you are.
So, Rex and Hour Man are the same people?
Yes.
Okay.
Rex is Hour Man.
Yep.
Okay.
My brain's gonna hurt in a second.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, all of this stuff is even an issue because of Eobard.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's there
dick.
fucking with stuff. Things are changing.
He's more in this season than I thought he was going to be in.
Yeah.
Well, as soon as we saw him in the first episode, I was like, this can't just be, I'm going to show up every once in a while. It's like, it has to be like a...
I kind of thought it was going to be, a little bit here and there, but not every episode kind of deal. And, we were going to see him show up in Flash, and stuff here. But this is clearly setting up the tie-in for Flash and Legends to be part of the four-way crossover. That's
yes,
clearly
sure.
where this is going. And then we kind of... Because keeping Legends a show about time travel... that one is the one that's the hardest for me to grasp of how they're going to get it connected into the other universes. We already have the assumption of how Supergirl and Flash are going to get crossed over. And by proximity, whenever something bad goes down with Flash that they can't handle on their own, that's when Arrow people come in and stuff like that. So Arrow just kind of gets grouped in by association. But Supergirl being on another universe and Legends being in another time are the two that are the hardest to ground in, and this connection it just makes it that much easier. So
because whatever Eobard's doing in the past, he's gonna get to the present, get to Barry, and then that's what's gonna bring, I assume, the Legends to the present.
That's if he's even going chronologically.
He'd be jumping all around the fucking place.
Yeah.
Which he probably is, because he's a maniac.
Yeah. He's reckless.
Yeah, he is. But
he's gonna have so
like
many
reckless...
time race on his ass, just saying.
No, he knows how to avoid them. Like, he was chastising Barry, because Barry... Was that him, or was that Zoom? That was Zoom.
That was Zoom.
Sorry.
Zoom.
I'm confused. Never mind.
But he was the one that told Barry about the time wraiths.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he knows how to avoid them.
He's gonna make so many angry, they're just gonna be a big army. And no matter where he goes, they're just gonna find him, because they're just gonna blanket the whole...
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. But I assume because of Eobard, that's the reason Nate's dog tags disappeared. He's like, the JSA don't make it. They're not gonna make it. Like, which sucks, because the next step after that is, Nate disappears because he's never been born. So that's a problem. And, because Eobard's given the Nazis this fucking super Nazi serum.
Yeah, the stuff that made Captain America.
Yeah. Well, it made Red Skull.
No, stop that.
I wish I had a Red Skull pop vinyl.
Yeah.
Do not.
That's what it felt like to me. His
I mean,
that's what,
Nazis, super soldier, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
super
literally
soldier,
called,
super serum.
yeah, they literally called it the super serum, and Ray
Yeah.
was like, a little spot on. Could you come up with something clever,
Yeah.
more clever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the legends are just like, well, let's, they told us to leave. They want us to leave. They're going to get our help. They're our help, whether they want it or not.
Because they're gonna end up dead.
Yeah.
We can't have that.
And they go undercover, and I love it because Vixen is, huh?
1 second, because I
Okay.
need to make my brain not hurt.
Ow.
If they didn't save the JSA, and that means Nick, is that his name?
Nate.
And Nate was never born. Nate never would have found them. Would they still be time scattered?
No, because they're in the time stream. So they're a little bit out of time, but I think they would see Nate disappear.
Okay.
I don't think, I mean, it would take a while for Nate to disappear. Because obviously it has to solidify, it has to catch up with him. But they would have probably just watched him disappear.
Right.
But would it solidify if he's in a time stream? Like him himself, would he disappear if he no longer exists in time?
It might. It might not. I don't know. We've never seen that kind of paradox in this show.
Right.
No, that's no.
I don't know what's hurting your brains, guys. This makes perfect sense. Do you think we'll ever see the JSA again?
Yes.
Brian, Gabriel, yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty sure we're seeing Vixen next episode too. So.
Greeble. Yes.
Hmm?
I think it's Greeble. If I'm yeah, I think it's Greeble.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, have I been saying his fucking name wrong this whole time? I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
think so.
Dude. Well, I can't read, so.
I mean, I could even be pronouncing wrong. I'm the butcher of names, so.
The Butcher of Kiev.
No.
Anyway. No. Just no. Yeah, so Stein goes undercover as like this singer that Hitler loves. And all the Nazis are like, "Oh, yes, sir. Come in. Please sing a song for us." And Stein gets up, and I was like cringing. I was like, this is going to be the worst. And then he just beautifully sings. And I was just like, oh.
Before he sings, he goes, watch for the changes, try to keep up. Exact same lines Marty McFly said before.
Oh my god, he says
Johnny
it
D.
the
Good.
same way, too. I didn't notice that.
Exact same way.
Oh my god. You're right. Try to keep up.
Yeah. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And there was a line he says before he started singing where I swear I thought he was going to sing The Sound of Music.
Yeah. I did too. I honestly was thinking that as well.
Is he literally going to sing The Sound of Music to a room full of Nazis?
Yep. That's 100% what I thought was going to happen.
I never made that connection. Oh my god.
Because he said something about The Sound of Music, or like a line that sounded similar to something from The Sound of Music, where I was like, he's going to sing The Sound of Music to a room full of Nazis.
Yep.
But yeah, it worked, and but Ray had to punch a Nazi. I loved it too, because Jax is like, why did you get to punch him? He insulted me.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just didn't want to hail Hitler.
Yeah, he's
Boom.
He's probably has family who's Jewish. Like, that's what it felt like to me. Like, he's got family who physically couldn't do it. He's like, I would, but
Oh.
literally, fuck you.
I mean, Hitler wasn't even there.
No.
Yeah.
So I think if he was, he would have realized Stein was not his favorite singer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, but these were just like lieutenants, and I think it was a general too. So
Yeah.
I was like, isn't he supposed to be 6 foot tall? Well, my booming voice makes me seem taller than I am.
I like how Jax had no confidence in him. It's like, this is gonna be fucking hilarious.
I didn't either. I was so cringy as he was going up to the stage. So cringy.
Isn't the actor himself, though, hasn't he had a few Broadway jobs prior?
You know what? I'm not quite sure.
I kind of think that he
sure.
has.
But you were saying you thought he was going to sing The Sound of Music. I definitely thought that too. And
then
me too. When he turned to the guy and said, "Watch for the changes, try to keep up," I thought he was going to sing Johnny Be Good.
Oh god.
So I didn't know what he was actually going to start singing in.
Yeah.
You know.
Johnny Be Good is so far after than 1942.
For sure. Oops. For sure. But they find out what the Nazis are after, and they're after the Ashkran amulet.
Yes.
Something sounded Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what it looked like.
It was like a disc thing. It wasn't even like a little. It was like huge.
But it's
like a plate.
Yeah, and it looked like it might have been like a calendar or like a clock or a compass or something like working, moving gears and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not really sure what it does. They never really say. Like, no one really addresses that. Like, that's not an important part because, I mean, obviously they're trying to stop the Nazis from getting it.
Yeah.
But no one ever says what it does. And at the end, I was just sort of like, what does it do?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, they shifted the story. They shifted the story from the amulet to Ray and Stargirl and with the serum because of the not Hulk.
Hulk, not Hulk.
The Hulk, not Hulk.
Yeah. Because I mean that was the method in which the Nazis were going to get the amulet and win the war.
Mm-hmm.
So it shifted to that because you don't want super Nazis.
No.
Don't want super Nazis. So that was a big thing.
Yeah, I wish we got a little more on that, but it's clearly not over. So
No, clearly not. We're gonna see it again. It's gonna be probably a big focus.
I think Eobard definitely wants that for some reason. So that's why I mean, we know that Nazi Hitler.
He doesn't just want it; he has it.
He has it.
Oh yeah, he has it. Sorry, I'm focused on Adolf for some reason because they said, "Oh, he's the artifact collector," and it's just like, yeah.
Well, I love like you go back and like any kind of like sci-fi supernatural thing, like the Nazis are exploring with all kinds of artifacts and like Indiana Jones, right? They have the Ark of the Covenant, you know. They have they're after the Crystal Skull. I dare mention that.
They do it in Hellboy too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every you go even Supernatural when they dealt with the Nazi episode with the golems and stuff like that. You know, like they are Hitler's always involved in like some supernatural thing, and I think there is some real world grounding in that, but obviously there was never anything that came of it. Like I think he was after certain artifacts, but he came up short.
Oh, okay. Well, I know
curious man.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I know at least historically proven things is that the Nazis would steal a lot of art from other countries, from other, from people, from their homes, from historical societies or whatever, and they would amass this, pile of stolen art. Mm-hmm. So it definitely falls in line with the Nazi MO.
Yep.
So Sarah in this episode is very protective of Nate. She's like, I just want to get you home. She's very repetitive this episode. In terms of trying to protect Nate.
Well, she knows something's up with him, and she sees that bruise and then later on the cut, and she realizes, he's hemophobic or not phobic?
Hemophiliac.
Hemophiliac, yeah. Which is
poor white blood cells.
Yeah,
doesn't clot.
It is a serious condition.
Mm-hmm.
One of my good friends, his wife has that, and it was also passed down to both of their kids.
Gee.
Yeah, and it gets bad. She cut herself one time making dinner, and bled through the entire dinner. Trying to keep the thing as sealed as she can. Then she has to go to the hospital. It's like every time you get a cut or something like that, you have to go to the hospital to get it taken care of. You take for granted the fact that you could kick a table or bump into a table and wind up with a little bruise and it goes away in a couple days. Well, try internally bleeding from that, and bad things happen. So
I would be the worst hemophiliac ever. I get bruises. Oh. I don't know where I got them from.
Yeah.
I fall downstairs all damn time. Mine will just strap me up in a bed and be permanent in a fucking hospital. Well,
that's basically what Sarah wanted to do with him.
Yeah.
Well, he said that his parents had done it to him too. So
yeah.
She was channeling her inner Ollie this episode.
Yeah. It's more maternal instincts. Maybe Sarah's gonna be pregnant with mixed baby.
Why mix? I almost feel like it'd be more of Nate's baby if it ever came to be, but no.
No, it's honestly it's guilt for Laurel and Rip because people keep dying on her watch is how she feels about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Do you think she's still good? Well, obviously things have changed now. So Nate and Commander Steele get caught in a boom, an explosion, and Nate not looking too good. And Ray gives him the his tweaked version of the Nazi serum,
which he could have easily taken for himself to give himself powers after being shamed.
That was the plan.
Shamed by Vixen.
That was his plan. His plan.
Right.
That's why he did it in the first place. That's why he did it before he used the microscope to beat up Nazis. But
do the whole thing with the microscope.
Yeah, no, that was funny. He's like, "Oh, I wanted to hit them both with a microscope."
Yeah.
But yeah, he saves Nate. So now Nate's probably gonna have superpowers. Probably won't be hemophiliac anymore.
You think?
Yeah, maybe they.
Pretty sure. Well, if he doesn't have
him.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if he doesn't have superpowers, he might not be hemophiliac anymore.
That would be convenient, but I kind of like the whole representation of that on. You never see like hemophiliacs on like action shows like this. You always see it in like a house or doctor kind of show like Grey's Anatomy, something like that. But it's never represented on this kind of show.
Yeah. Well, we had a paralyzed character in a wheelchair, and we saw how long that lasted. So
that's true.
It's not looking good. What was I gonna say in that vein?
Why are you making blood jokes, Cleo?
Huh?
Why are you making blood puns?
That was a pun.
In that vein.
In that vein. Okay, could have been a pun. Anyway.
It's an unintentional pun.
You think even though Nate probably won't be hemophiliac anymore, you think Sarah's still going to be protective of him just because he's the newbie?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, he does know a lot, so maybe protecting the information at that.
And that's just why I wanted him to be the leader of the team. Like, I know he's the new guy and everything, but he just knows so much about history. He would be the perfect person to direct them in their objectives.
Yeah. He can still do that. I mean, a leader doesn't have to be the one.
Yeah, that's true, because that's like Ollie's the leader, but Felicity is the
ideas man. Yeah.
Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly. Because we can have Sarah be the leader. We can have Stein be the analyst. We can have Nate be the plan man. You know, we can have Mick, you know, set things on fire. Yeah, that can still happen. It would be interesting if in this season they took turns leading. You know, Sarah's like, I don't want to lead today. They should like make a hat.
I don't think it's gonna be so cut and dry like that. I think it's just gonna be like, hey, here's our collective abilities, and we're gonna use them as we can, and it's gonna grow into like the JSA where they all have input, and you know.
Yeah, well, I mean that was
some time because this is really a ragtag team that was just thrown together.
Yeah, I think that was Rip's initial, objective for the team, to have them all be able to work together like a well-oiled machine. But because all their personalities are so different and they hadn't worked with anybody before, really, it was not going to happen right away.
Well, because you look, because everybody really does have their own skill sets. Because you have Ray, who's the technology guy, right? And then you're like, well, why wouldn't Ray just do the repairs of the ship? But instead they put Jackson, who didn't really have, a skill set other than like athletics.
No, he was a mechanic.
He was a mechanic.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why they chose him to fix the ship.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Other than like take away his mechanic abilities, and you're left with only athleticism for Jack. So it made sense to do nothing but mechanic for him.
Right, to build up his mechanic,
right,
the mechanic side of him.
So like you're looking, and everybody's contributing their own. They all have their own abilities now. Like everybody's kind of coming to terms with what they are, and it's just getting them to mesh now.
Yeah.
So
it's funny.
He's going to be the repairman and the navigator, I think, when it comes to the flying of the ship and everything.
Repairman, man.
Yeah. I see Mick as glue right now. Like he's actually keeping everybody together instead of like before he was kind of causing a little bit of chaos.
Yeah. I see that.
Yeah.
I think he's also.
I like to look at Rip as the glue. Rip is. He's gone, but he's still
He's the dead glue.
He's the horse, right?
Like
the glue factory.
Oh.
Too soon. Did somebody just like lose a horse? Don't look so long.
In talking about Mick, he sort of keeps everyone honest and grounded. Whenever anybody feels too like superior or like
Mick is keeping people honest, the criminal is keeping people honest.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Whenever anyone feels like, oh, look how good I am, he's just like, no, we all suck. Shut up.
And Brian's saying, what are Nate's powers? We don't necessarily know what the serum is going to do to him, but in terms of what he brings to the table, it's just his knowledge of history. He's able to pull out the anomalies. He's the first one that knows when something's changed. He's the first one to point it out.
Yeah. And that, no matter what power he has, that's not going to change. That'll still be his skill set, no matter what else he obtains.
Yep.
Speaking of Nate, I loved the last scene he had with Commander Steele.
Oh, that was fantastic.
Was sweet. Yeah.
It was kind of like when Bros, and then
Bro Fist, yeah.
Except it didn't happen.
Yeah, no, because he was, coming out of a fucking coma.
Yep.
Right.
What? Yeah. And yeah, I guess should talk about the end.
Mm-hmm.
Eobard kills Rex. He says a lot of stuff about taking him out of the timeline. And just puts his hand through his chest.
Yeah, the vibrating, stupid fucking hand thing.
Right through the brick wall, by the way.
Yeah.
But this is where going back to what we were talking about earlier. This is what just does not make sense to me. Because if you kill him before he's able to travel in time to warn the Legends, then the Legends never would have gotten on the ship in the first place to do everything that they did, and...
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he fizzled out.
Well, I think that's probably why he wanted to do that, to take him, to disrupt the stuff that would then happen in the future with
like Nikki said, that's why he fizzled out in front of them.
Who fizzled out?
Rex Tyler.
He fizzled out?
Yeah, when he first gave them the message to not go back to 1942 because they'd royally fuck things up, before he finished his message, he fizzled away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I just assumed that to be, he wasn't actually there. That was a digital projection of him. That's always what I thought.
I mean, it makes a little more sense this way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I guess we'll probably find out. Next episode is called Shogun. Nate is shocked to learn that he has powers, but then accidentally lands himself and Ray in feudal Japan. After Sarah convinces their stowaway, Amaya, that's how Vixen does. We will see Vixen next episode. Convinces the stowaway that Rick is not a murderer. No, that Rory is not a murderer. My bad. They all agreed to find Nate and help him master his powers. Oh, that's right. Because, and I didn't catch this, it says it in the synopsis for this episode, but a dying Rex whispers time traveler to Amaya as he dies.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, obviously she's going to think it's one of them who murdered him.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's going to be a big part of next episode.
Yeah. You think she's going to be around more? Like a lot? Like, a lot enough to make a connection with Ray, as in relationship, as in kissy-kissy?
They had some chemistry. I don't know. Ray's got to, like, slow his roll on the ladies. Like,
I know,
much.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Too much. Where was I? They all agree to find Nate and help him master his powers in order to defend the Japanese village from the Shogun and his army of samurai warriors. So, here's the thing. In the like, here's the little promo for next episode. They get their hands on Ray's suit. How many times have people from the past got their hands on Ray's suit? That boy needs his suit super glued to his body.
The Nazis had it.
No, yeah,
this episode. In this episode.
Had it twice.
Yeah.
Not cool, man. Get your shit together.
Can't you come up with, like, a safety mechanism that once it comes into somebody's hands that it shrinks beyond the point of being seen? And they think it just self-destructed or something, you know?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. He needs a new safety measure. Like, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, have it, I don't know, disappear into one of his pores or something. Like, at this point, just, like, keep it on you somewhere. In you. Somewhere. Who gives a shit?
Ugh.
Yeah.
Swallow it.
Up your nose. In your ear.
I just got a little bit allergies.
Dom, where can people find you?
Stowing Ray Suit on Twitter at Phenomedom, Phenomedom.
Phenomedom. Nikki, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyYVENOM24.
You can find me at Clio Moto, and you can find all of us at ASOTV Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Gmail, Google+, and right here on YouTube. Follow us for some more podcasts from some of your favorite TV shows, video games, and movies. Until next time, bye guys.
How come I always walk out of DC podcasts with a migraine?
I don't know, man. It makes perfect sense to me.
That's the sound my brain is making right now.
I believe it.